Hello everyone, today I am going to talk about using beneficial entomopathogenic nematodes to control May or June beetles and stop their emergence from pupae. So what are the May and June beetles? The various colored beetles that you see on this slide are called May or June beetles because they are generally emerging from their pupae located in the soil during May and June months. May and June beetles are considered one of the most damaging insect pests of turf grasses, vegetables, ornamentals, and fruit crops. Their grubs generally feed on the roots of turf grasses and other host crops, whereas their adults feed on foliage, flowers, and fruits. The adults of May and June beetles are easy to identify because they are either black, green, or reddish brown in color. They have 3 pairs of legs, a pair of antennae, chewing types of mouthparts, 2 pairs of wings, and they are about 2 centimeter long and 1 centimeter wide. The grubs of May and June beetles are also called as white grubs, and they are easy to identify because they are whitish creamy in color. They have yellowish brown head capsule with chewing types of mouth parts. They have also 3 pairs of legs. They are about 2.5 centimeter long and have C-shaped bodies. The life cycle of May June beetles is generally completed within 2 to 3 years, containing 4 developmental stages like adult beetles, eggs, grubs, and pupae. Generally, adult beetles emerge from pupae in the late May and early June and start mating. Mated females then enter into the soil and lay eggs near turf grass roots. Eggs hatch into small grubs within 3 weeks. Hatched grubs immediately start feeding on the host roots and develop into 3 instars within 3 years. As soon as grubs sense the temperature starting to cool down in the fall, grubs will move deep in the soil for overwintering. However, when temperature starts warming up again early in the spring, grubs will move back into the root zone of turfgrass and start feeding on the roots. While feeding, an overlapping generation of third instar grubs will mature and then pupate in the soil. Due to overlapping generations, adult beetles will emerge from pupae during May and June months every year, and the life cycle continues. So how do May and June beetle adults can cause damage to different crops? After emerging from pupae, adults of May and June beetles generally start feeding on foliage of many crops and ornamental plants, as well as on the different types of ripened fruits. That in turn can reduce their market and aesthetic values. Here you can see adults of May and June beetles are feeding on foliage and ripe nectarine fruits, as well as you can see they are feeding on flowers and foliage of rose bushes. So how do grubs of May and June beetles can cause damage to turf grass? Generally, after mating, female beetles infest healthy turf grass and lay eggs near their roots. After hatching from eggs, small grubs will start immediately feeding on the roots of healthy turf grass. Their feeding injuries will then cause wilting and dying of turf that in turn will form small dried patches of dead turf grass all over the lawns or golf courses. As feeding progresses, small dried patches will combine together and form large and dried patches of turf grasses, thus reducing the aesthetic value of turf grass all over the lawns and golf courses. So what are the common signs of presence of May-June beetles in the lawn? Of course, uninfested turf grass by grubs of May-June beetles will look healthy and dark green in color. However, if turfgrass is infested and damaged by grubs, dried patches of turfgrass can be seen all over the lawns and golf courses. Also, dried turfgrass due to feeding damaged by grubs can be easily pulled away with hands. Another best sign of presence of grubs in the lawn is that holes dug by skunks or raccoons can be seen all over the lawns as they are trying to find grubs and feast on them. Now we will see how do beneficial entomopathogenic nematodes can control and stop the emergence of the May and June beetles. Currently, chemical insecticides are not used for the control of these beetles infesting home lawns and golf courses because of their toxic effects on the human health and the environment. Therefore, beneficial entomopathogenic nematodes have been recommended for the control of these beetles because of because of their safety to animals and the environment. Beneficial nematodes are generally applied to turf grass early in the spring to target both grubs and pupae of May and June beetles. Applied nematodes will then move in the soil where they will find and infect grubs and pupae. After infection, nematodes will release symbiotic bacteria in the blood of the grubs and pupae and kill them within 48 hours. Because most of the grubs and pupae are killed by the beneficial nematodes, the emergence of future generation of beetles from the pupae will be stopped. So what are the beneficial entomopathogenic nematodes? As seen in the picture here, the beneficial entomopathogenic nematodes are thread-like unsegmented microscopic roundworm. They are also called as beneficial nematodes because they have been used for the biological control of insect pests of many crops that are grown in the greenhouses, gardens and fields. They are also known as the entomopathogenic nematodes because the symbiotic bacteria, namely Phyllophaga species and Xenographia species that are carried in their guts are pathogenic to insects. There are two commercially available beneficial and entomopathogenic nematodes used for the effective control of May and June beetles. Grubs include Heterorhabditis bacteriophora and Stylonema capsule nematodes. Beneficial nematodes are very active parasites of May-June beetles because they can move quickly in the soil where they will find, infect and kill both grubs and pupae within 48 hours. They can reproduce inside the cadaver of insects, larvae and pupae and recycle themselves. They are easy to apply and safe to handle. They are not harmful to plants, animals, humans and the environment. Unlike pesticides, they do not leave any toxic residue on the produce and therefore harvested produce is safe to eat anytime. For the effective control of May and June beetles, apply 1 billion nematodes per acre of turf grass early in the spring. Nematodes should be applied early in the morning or late in the evening to protect them from exposure to UV light as it can kill nematodes within a second. For easy application, first add nematodes in the water can filled with water. Before application, stir and mix nematodes thoroughly in the water using a stick so that they will not settle down at the bottom of the water. Therefore, they can be easily spread on the turf grass within marked areas with a long stick as shown in the photo. Now we will see how do beneficial nematodes can infect and kill grubs. After application, nematodes will move in the soil where they will find grubs and enter into grubs' body cavity through natural openings such as mouth, anus, spiracles are also called breathing pores or intersegmental membrane. Once in the grub's body cavity, Heterorhabditis bacteriophora nematodes will release Phyllophaga luminous bacteria or Stylonema capsule. Nematodes will release Xenographia nematophilus bacteria in the blood where the bacteria will multiply and cause septicemia that will kill grubs within 48 hours after infection. Like grubs, Beneficial nematodes can also kill pupae of May-June beetles within 48 hours after infection. Visit bugsforgrowers.com to gain practical knowledge about organic growing insect pest control practice that does not harm plants, people, or pets. To read blogs on biological control of insect pests of different crops, animals, and honeybee hives. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please comment, share, and subscribe. Look for the next video on biological control of small hive beetles using beneficial Heterodes indica nematodes.